Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Sacred Synthesis. This is the Energy Conclave. For this month's topic around energy, I decided it might be really beautiful and special for us to talk about our planet, beautiful Mother Earth, this living organism that we are a part of, that we call home, that sustains us in many ways. And I wanted to dive into ways in which we can better connect with Mother Earth's frequencies and how that allows us to be in a more healed state and in a more symbiotic, healthy way of existing with nature in and around ourselves. But before we do that, I want to dive into the church and who we are, what we do, our mission, some upcoming events and things to tune into, and then we'll get into the meat of this beautiful topic. So first and foremost, the Sacred Synthesis is an entheogenic church. We focus on working with sacraments such as 5-MeO-DMT and silomethoxin. These are very powerful, potent somatic sacraments that help us clear out densities within our field that then allow us to connect with our higher selves, with spirit, and just be in a more harmonized frequency, attunement, so to speak, with everybody and everything that we desire to be in a state of love with. So we host weekly conclaves like this one, talking about a myriad of topics, as well as monthly ceremonies for you to tune into virtually, connect with sacrament, community, and in a guided, loving way. Additionally, we have member support and programming throughout the month. Some things to tune into for the month upcoming. Our ceremony will be November 23rd, and we will be working with the Unity Mist and the Jaguar Light Wand. More information on the ceremony and the sacraments, please visit thesacredsynthesis.com. You can always email us at info@thesacredsynthesis for any direct questions that you have, which cannot be answered through your search on our website. What else? So we'll invite you to tune into that. We also are launching very soon a special sacrament to work with over the holiday season. So stay attuned to all of our shares, our social media, our website. And if you're not a member, you can go to thesacredsynthesis.com, look for the little buttons that say become a member, and you'll be subscribed to our email list where you'll get all of these fun announcements, education, harm reduction, connection, community, all of that. So without further ado, let's talk about connecting to Pachamama, Mother Earth, Gaia, however you want to label her, define her, want to talk about it. So many of you have, probably spent days at a time without realizing it, that you haven't touched the earth at all. And this conclave is really about the energetic, biological, and spiritual impact of connecting with the earth and how grounding can regulate our nervous systems, discharge stress, and restores coherence in the body and our energetic field. So we'll talk about some ancestral knowings along with modern science to understand why connecting with the earth matters more now than ever. And at the end, we'll conclude with a beautiful meditation that will help you connect with Mother Earth just from the seat that you're in right now. So first and foremost, what is grounding? Well, grounding is the act of physically or energetically, as we'll do at the end of this, connect to the body of the earth to restore balance. And it has three main dimensions. The first being somatic, which is meant to relax the nervous system by bringing the body to a parasympathetic state through direct contact with the soil, stone, sand, or water, plant, etc. And the second is energetic. So this allows for discharging of built up positive electrical charge, think inflammation, static, or emotional contraction, and allowing it to be absorbed by the Earth's negative electrons, or by absorbing, the Earth's negative electrons into your being. And the third is spiritual ancestral. So when we can re-enter into a right relationship with the land as a living intelligence, not just this thing that has a myriad of components, like the trees are separate from the rock or separate from the water. When we re-enter into that and can see how there's so many beautiful documentaries out there that show this. One was called Earth with Will Smith as the narrator. It shows how alive the heart is. And there's been recent shares of the heart, or excuse me, the earth kind of having like a heartbeat presence. So when we can tune into that wisdom, we can come into right relationship with Mother Earth, and we can then come into better right relationship with our being a collective of living organisms, and kind of being our own planet of sorts, and how that sees our connection with everything in a much bigger way, which allows us to be better connected to our planet, treat the planet better, treat our fellow neighbors and people better, make better choices with our consumption habits, etc. So diving into the scientific aspect. So we as human beings are actual electrical beings. So our tissues, our nervous system, mitochondria, they all operate through electrical signaling. So every heartbeat, your thoughts, hormones, and movement is governed by bioelectrical impulses. So when we connect with the earth, there's some things that occur. So the earth holds a constant negative charge. Our bodies build up positive charge through stress, inflammation. If you live in like cities or have a Wi-Fi, you are exposed to EMF quite regularly and at high levels. Trauma can impact this, nervous system dysregulation. If you have synthetic flooring, if you're wearing shoes that are made of synthetic material, or in some way you're just constantly insulated from the ground, that's impacting your body. So when your skin meets the earth with bare feet, hands, or even your whole body laying in the grass, on the beach, in the water, etc., your body starts to absorb these free electrons that can neutralize excess charge within your body. So that's a time that's really important to do this is after you've been flying, is to go out and just touch the ground for a few minutes at minimum, right? So what happens is this touching of the earth creates a measurable reduction in inflammation markers. Your cortisol levels will decrease, and your nervous system overactivity will start to kind of go back into a more normalized state. And there have been so many peer-reviewed studies that have found to show that by the simple act of grounding, going out and touching the earth, it can reduce chronic pain and inflammation. It will improve your sleep and your circadian rhythm. Pair that with like getting sunlight on your skin and your eye space in the morning when you first wake up can really improve your circadian rhythm. Will decrease your cortisol levels and anxiety. It can normalize blood viscosity, and your heart rate variability will start to come into a more homeostasis and normal heartbeat rate. And it can accelerate muscle recovery, wound healing, and improve immune function, all by changing out the electrons in your body by touching the earth. So this was how the body was meant to be balanced. And there are some things that we can do, which I'll get to in a little bit, that will help normalize you where you don't even have to go touch the earth. That's the best way. But I know some people live in cities and there's not necessarily parks nearby, what have you, whatever the reason. We'll get into some ways that you can ground. But there is a cost, right? I've talked about inflammation. So for most of humanity, our bodies have been in constant connection with the earth through bare feet, natural surfaces, and sleeping on the ground. It's only through the last 100 years or so that has become less of a normality in Western culture. And I want you to think about, when was the last time you touched the earth or leaned against a tree? Have you predominantly been wearing like rubber soled or synthetically soled shoes that prevent conductivity? Like you can't, like there's no electrical conductivity if you're standing on rubber. Most of us have elevated housing. If you live in a city, like you live in a condo or an apartment, and you probably have synthetic floors. So they're not made of real wood, or the wood's treated with all these different like synthetic chemicals. You get in your car, you drive in your car, you walk on concrete, you eat plastic. Our furniture separates us from the ground. We're constantly on screens. Like I'm on one right now. We're being pummeled with Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and cell towers that build up all this positive charge, right? So while we might have lots of convenience in our lives for our modern day needs, there is a big cost when people go weeks, months, or sometimes I imagine some even years without your bare skin touching the earth. And this, like we said, will cause inflammation. It can cause fatigue and brain fog, sleep issues, mood instability, a lot of energetic and emotional overwhelm, and a sense of ungroundedness and disconnection. And I've been able to map this very clearly in my own system that there becomes a point where, because I live in a city, that I need to not only, I can't just touch the earth, like I literally need to get out of the city, go into nature, go camping, be away from the EMF and all the signals, and how quickly I come into a more grounded, like, whew, can feel my nervous system decompress. So, just want to bring that into your awareness. Like, start paying attention to how frequently or infrequently you're tuning in to Mother Earth. So, as you start to recognize that and realize, wow, I need to be engaging with the earth a little bit more, there's some things that I want to transmit to you that can encourage you to work with the earth as a transmuter of these stressors, right? So you can release the excess static, grief, fear, anxiety, and you can regulate after going into expanded states. We'll talk about going into ceremonies and journeying with psychedelics here shortly. And it can actually serve as like an anchor spiritually to keep you in an embodied experience and not just float away and disassociate. And in so many ways, you receive replenishment, clarity, and energetic nourishment, right? So, some ways in which you can do this, connecting directly with the earth, is put your belly on the ground or put your feet in the soil and mud, clay, sand, the grass, like any of those. If you go to the beach, rather than putting a towel down, what would it be like if you just laid on the beach on the sand? Submerging yourself in rivers, the oceans, lakes, or even just like laying under the sky on the earth, whatever that surface might be. So when you're thinking about working with entheogens and entheogenic works, ceremonies, psychedelics, I think it's really important to go outside and do a prayer connection and ask your nervous system to calm down, open up your body and start to stabilize your field before you start to transform your energetic being, your visions and all of that. And for those of you who have journeyed with psychedelics, if you're inside, you've probably received at some point this impulse to go outside and connect with the earth. And I can't speak for every ceremonial container, but for the ones that I have been in and have held, I always think it's really important to have a space where that's possible for the journeyer. So know that that impulse is a wisdom to go out and connect with Mother Earth. And then afterwards, I think it's great to go and just, again, sit on the earth in some way as a way of discharging any residue. From a spiritual, energetic body perspective, Mother Earth is willing to take your discharge, your stressors, and can use those as fuel. You know, we're helping each other survive, use it for fuel for her own work and her own healing and her own support of all the living beings on the planet. So don't feel like asking for emotional regulation or for that Mother Earth to soak away these things, that a residue is harming her. If anything, it's providing nourishment. And then just in your regular life, like if you live in an urban environment or you're kind of limited to an indoor experience for most of the time, there are some adaptations that you can do. So you can start to have like clay and sand in bowls for the hands or feet. So adding in some water, or just having a pot with some sand in it. Getting grounding mats. There's so many all over our favorite online quick delivery store, Amazon, where you can get grounding mats where you can have your feet on them while you're working, and they literally plug into the grounding port on your outlets. Same with bed sheets. These are one of my favorites, grounding bed sheets. You can also add mineral mineral and salts to your bath soaks into the water. Houseplants as conductors and companions, and go over and touch your plants, talk with them, as well as sleeping on natural fibers, silk, bamboo, cotton, trying to find, even in your clothing, more natural fibers. That's going to help discharge some of the electrons that are causing some inflammation in your system. Simultaneously thinking about the foods you're eating, less processed, more natural, organic, whole foods are going to help with that inflammation. And you can also have an earth-based visualization practice. So tuning into Mother Earth through meditation, through visualizing. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. When you're ready, if you feel calm, I'm going to invite you to sit or lie down with your feet on the floor, indoors or outdoors, whatever feels good. I want you to close down your eyes. Go ahead and begin by taking some slow, deep breaths. And as you take these deep breaths, Just inviting your mind to soften, to tell your protectors you're safe and in a held environment, just in a warm, supported environment by the seat that you have, whatever's holding you, and letting your body just sink into that space of being held, totally supported and loved, and starting to breathe in and out of the nose, filling up your belly. And as you exhale, invite in any sounds through the mouth, and starting to bring in awareness of your body and at your tailbone, just bringing some awareness to your tailbone, feeling its rootedness, and from your tailbone, starting to scan down the back of your legs till you reach the bottom of your feet, your tootsies and the strong pads of your feet. And as you're here, you can start to imagine, if you're not touching the earth now, imagine through your feet, you're growing a little cord. Maybe you want this to come from your tailbone, wherever it feels good, that there is like a vine, a cord, an energetic tether that is moving its way through the floor, through the surfaces you are on. And as it moves through the floor, you start to make contact with the topsoil. And through the topsoil, you push through this crust, going through various levels of sand. Maybe you touch a water table, through the talking rocks, the tectonic plates, any crystalline structures, making your way through the entire layering of Mother Earth, and keep moving through the layers until you reach the hot magma center, this molten core, the star within a planet, fiery center, connecting with that power and keeping that connection to your body, just allowing the earth star energy to flow through your being up into your body, and then allowing anything that's within your body, your subtle body, energy body, mental body, physical body, all of that to begin discharge into Mother Earth, creating reciprocity. As you give, she gives. Continuing to inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. As this exchange occurs, with inhale, drawing up on the earth's grounding current, the steady electrical charge with negative ions, feeling it travel up into your legs, your hips, your belly, your lungs, your heart, throat, into your brain, feeling the entire presence, this healing energy throughout your entire body. And as you rest your attention at the base of your spine, imagining Earth's heartbeat, slow, ancient, primal, rhythmic, letting your own heart and nervous system begin syncing with that rhythm, remembering to invite your brain to soften and your imagination, your intuitive abilities to turn on, feeling into that rhythm as it becomes a part of your own. And notice, is there anywhere in your body that feels tight, inflamed, overwhelmed, scattered? As you sense these spaces, you can envision placing that part of you directly on the earth, letting what is too much for you to carry any longer, allowing it all to be absorbed away, or if you're in a water body of water, allowing it to be washed away by our powerful, beautiful, loving mother. And commanding out loud, repeating after me, I am held, I am connected, I belong to the earth, and the earth welcomes my return. I am clear, I am connected, we are unified. Continuing your breaths, allowing the charge of the earth to harmonize your field, feeling the weight of your bones and your energy being grounded, held, inviting and allowing your emotions to be softened. When you feel ready, don't close or keep your eyes closed. Start to rub your hands together, creating some fire. And as you feel ready, place your warm hands over your closed eyes, just cupping them. Take some big rounded breaths, slowly opening your eyes as you remove your hands from your eyes. Lovely. And as that feels complete, just want to close each of you to close by inviting each of you into remembering as you move through the week, whenever you're tuning into this, to remember when you're stressed, overwhelmed, feeling off, the quickest, cheapest way to come into balance is going out and touching Mother Earth, finding a way to ground with nature. So easy. So I hope that this has proved to be helpful, nourishing, informative, and I want to say thank you for tuning in. If you enjoyed this episode of the Sacred Synthesis, tuning in and educating around energy, I invite you to give us a thumbs up, leave a comment down below what more you would like to experience and have us talk about, share your own experience with this particular conclave, and please join us November 23rd for our next ceremony. It's going to be so beautiful, powerful, potent, and perfectly timed for the start of the holiday season. All right, my friends, we love you and see you next time.